so I had another teacher, basically in a master's class, didn't believe in any, and said, because you understand that everything in these textbooks are written by people who amend them to the books all support what their viewpoint was. So it's not, the scientific method was totally useless because there was no opposition viewpoint. Only people that supported their theories on broadcast communications were ever quoted. So.
Well, isn't that what you put if you were writing a book?
Oh yeah, and this is how it works. I mean, like they said, there is nothing wrong with the economy if Obama would just step back. If he'd step back, leave it alone, these companies would have, okay, General Motors would have filed bankruptcy, unions would have lost some of the, okay, unions lost 120,000 members of the union because of Obama's taking over the thing. They said if Obama would have allowed a bankruptcy to occur, they'd have lost almost none of them. And the pension funds would have taken a hit, but the feds were going to pick up the pension funds anyway, so it didn't make any difference. If he'd have left it alone, they'd have been like the automobile, they'd have been like the airline industries would file bankruptcy every other year and get back. People don't, they all know they're coming back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you know, Chrysler's filed bankruptcy like 3 times now and come back every time.
What do you mean, just like the airlines that file bankruptcy, what, every, how many years? 5 years, 6 years, whatever it is.
What it does is that bankruptcy allows the companies to get rid of the things that aren't working. What Obama did by forcing the GM and Chrysler out of business like he did was he kept the pieces that weren't working, got rid of the pieces that were working. I mean, if the cars were selling, Obama, big cars are the reason why we can't sell automobiles. Well, if you look at the sales, the only thing that have been selling under Obama are the big vehicles that he says that caused the problem. No. The thing that Chrysler sells the most is that one that looks exactly like the Mercedes. You know, I think the 300 or something.
Oh, it looks like the Bentley,
like
the
the
Chrysler
Bentley.
300.
Yeah, that sells. Their trucks sell. Their vans sell. The small automobiles that he and the Democrats say that people are demanding don't sell. Because, maybe in 20 or 30 years, there'll be families with only one child. Right now, you got 2 and 3 children, and the Latinos, which he says are perfectly welcome to come to this country, have 5 and 6 children. They can't drive. If you we'll go to a Wiener Schnitzel, they've got the big SUVs. I mean, they've got the 4-seat vehicles with their family in them. And
well, there's a reason they have third row seating.
Yeah, it's the problem. And Geithner is a smart person, but Geithner is book smart. He is not. And Bloomberg is basically he's an old world pencil pusher. Anybody know about Bloomberg?
Bloomberg Financial.
Bloomberg Financial, Bloomberg Financial Publications, Bloomberg. The Bloomberg network on television with all the news. And
well, at least he has worked in this real world and has a sense of reality.
He's also a really juju, so it means basically if you reach into his pocket, in his pocket there would be an old moldy $1 bill that he probably got 70 years ago when he was a day old.
He saved the first $1.
That's right. And you don't put it up on a wall for people to see. You carry it in your pocket because you're afraid. It's like the Geico commercial with the guy that founded Geico. The first $1, it's old and it's worn out and it smells, but it's the first $1. And he keeps it with him so he can carry it because that's what Jewish people and Judas Scots don't like folks. But I think, like I said, Bloomberg will move. Bloomberg kissed up to the president on the Muslim thing. He will move up to Secretary of the Treasury. Geithner's going to move up to the head of the Federal Reserve is going to step down because the policies are failed.
Which always makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So they're going to take a guy who believes in the same policies and put him in the position. They're not going to change anything. Geithner is not, Bloomberg
is not... Bloomberg has more practical experience.
Okay, we put it this way. The president won't listen to Raul Emanuel.
Oh, that's true.
If you won't listen to Raul Emanuel,
he tells him... listen to Bloomberg?
Yeah, he tells him. He said, Raul Emanuel said, go slow. You have the House and the Senate. You can get everything you want, and the worst you're going to do is you're going to get knocked off a few seats in the House and Senate, like they do every midterm. But he'd have still had solid control. As of last night, the most optimistic people in the Democratic Party have now said that it does look like it's going to be a massacre in the House, and the Senate may go to the Republicans. If they're saying it may go, you know their internal polling said it's going to go.
Right. And
like they said, Emmanuel has said very publicly in very many four-letter words that all you have to do is to go slow and you accomplish everything you want. But Obama and Mrs. Obama wanted fundamental change. And
they brought you change.
And they thought that people would simply, that it would be so overwhelming to the people that they would accept it. They forgot the problem is that we're mercenary bunch of the less SOBs in this country. Probably the most in the entire world. I mean, put it this way, I know white racist and black racist that would, you know, you said, well, you know, I'll give you $10,000 if you can kiss and make up. Okay. It has nothing to do, I mean, they could absolutely want to slice one another's throats. Yeah, okay, $10,000. I mean, what do you want us to do and where do you want us to do it?
That's right, and then they go back to doing whatever they're doing afterwards.
That's right, because they know, they said, well, you know, it's all, you know, Wall Street with Michael Douglas, it's all of greed. Greed is good. Well, that's right, greed is good. Greed for it. Greed, you know, we didn't go west because we thought that we wanted to go settle in a piece of sandy ground.
Yeah.
You go west.
The California Gold Rush.
You went west. I mean, do you think her family came here because they wanted to cook other people's meals?
Nope.
No, no, no. They came here to make money, folks. And you think my family came from Prussia in the 1600s because they wanted to be soldier and make their money and go back to Europe with the money they made, and then their children could be soldiers. Yeah. No, but that's it. My mother's Indian. You'd think that the Indians roamed the plains because they love to roam the plains. My great grandmother said they roamed the plains because they were looking for somebody they could play, you know, grab the wampum from. You know, basically it's go clunk, it's my money now, my wampum, my ground, my this. They didn't like, a perfect example, Alec Guinness to Peter O'Toole playing T.E. Lawrence in Lawrence of Arabia. Oh, you must be another one of those Englishmen who love the desert. Nomads hate the desert. We love the trees, we love the green grass, we love the water. And why do you roam the desert? Because that's where the money is. Yeah. So that's it, because it always has to do. I mean, I'm old enough to basically have met George M. Cohan. And I remember George M. Cohan being asked when he was later dying of cancer, still working. He said, you know, they asked him, you know, because he was sick, he was dying of cancer. He still went on stage and they asked him, well, you know, he's still actually a young man. He was young enough to be he would still be young enough to be my son. But because he had cancer and they couldn't solve the problem, and there he died at a very young age. And they asked him, well, Mr. Cohan, why must the show go on when you're sick as this? And he said, because you don't get paid if it doesn't go on. See, Cohan was also, remember the Cohans are also Jewish. So that's what we're all about, is money. Obama has refused to get it through his head. If you take the money out of an American's pocket, white, brown, yellow, black, they're all going to get pissed at you. The people that supported you are pissed at you. Well, I had a job and I had a house until Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid took over.
Well, that's where they say people vote with their pocketbooks.
They always vote with pocketbooks. They said elections are, they said Tip O'Neill said elections are local. Ronald Reagan said they vote with a pocketbook. Who ended up as a two-term president and who retired? Yeah. Elections are only local when it has nothing to do with the economy. When it has to do with the economy, elections are all pocketbook. And moving Geithner into another position and basically giving him more power as the head of the Federal Reserve, he basically can buy stuff from, you know, he basically plays, you know, I think the Treasury needs to buy these bonds and stuff to keep the reserve rates down. He'll still
Wait,
be.
who's head of the Federal Reserve right now?
Is it Bernanke? Is Bernanke, isn't it?
Oh, you know what? So why is Bernanke? Oh.
Okay, Bernanke is the, okay, but I would put it this way.
Oh, you know what? They're gonna blame it on them for the election.
Yeah, but they also said that the other, was it, I think Sunday morning on a talk show, he said, we've pulled every rabbit out of the hat that we can pull.
Bernanke said?
There's nothing left that the Federal Reserve can now do. You can't cut the rates anymore. If you start raising the rates, you wipe everything out. He said there are no tricks left in the book.
The scary part is that he would be gone and Geithner would be there.
And
Geithner's the scary one.
Geithner's going to approve the printing of more money. He's going to give the go-ahead to the Treasury Department to print more money.
What? He'll be more in line with to do what the president wants him to do.
Yeah, because there's,
right?
Geithner and Paulson basically, they're money people, but they know that you can't continue to spend money you don't have, whereas Geithner thinks you print as much money as you need. And that will solve the problem. Just print it, spend it. It's just, I mean, my family was in Germany in World War, before the war started. My grandmother said that she, she had a choice. They said, well, she wanted to buy a loaf of bread because she wanted, she had some bratwurst, wanted to put bratwurst on it. And it's because she picked the bread, she bought the bratwurst out of Germany when they came into it by the Orient Express. And she got into Germany and they said, well, it's going to cost you a lot of money for that loaf of bread. And she said, they asked her how much. They asked how much. And the guy said, see, that wheelbarrow over there, that wheelbarrow times 4 to buy one loaf of bread.
Wow.
And he said, but don't worry, if you have American money with you, we'll sell you the loaf of bread. And they want to know how much. And they said my grandfather reached into his pocket. He said, oh, that penny will work. 4 wheelbarrows of money, one penny. Mm-hmm. And this what happens when you just keep printing money. Geithner and Obama think that you can print your way out of the problem. The money isn't worth anything. He wants the Chinese government to take over our role as the building of the block of the country. Have the yuan be the backbone
now
of the
that's
world.
horrible because
The Chinese won't do it. Because they've got a zillion they got hundreds of billions of American dollars. Mm-hmm. So they're going to wipe out the American dollar and put their thing in, which they also have printed. The Chinese have printed so much of their money. If the Chinese government didn't back it up, it would be basically good toilet paper. Mm-hmm. I remember after World War II that my father brought back, they put together Deutschmarks into toilet paper rolls.
Oh, God.
And he gave toilet paper rolls of Deutschmarks to all his friends. Yeah. They basically, somebody over there, some soldier got this really fun idea. Let's wipe our rears with actually weren't Deutschmarks, but they were still marks, but they just printed huge rolls of them, shipped them back, and people would put them in there. I remember my father, when he had company over for years, he'd bring out the German money for people to use. But that's what happened. You devaluate your currency to the point that it's worthless.
It's worthless.
And if they're getting ready to blame Bernanke and Geithner for the devaluation of the American credit rating because they said, well, you should have known.
Well, yeah, they're gonna do this changeover probably before the election, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah, so then they can blame it on them?
If they're talking about it, they're basically August sales are 31% below what year to year, 31%.
For Toyota.
All the car dealers are basically watching the financial news because Monty likes to sit and watch it. Her father is a Scotsman, folks. But they just look at every indicator on this board is bad. I have a tendency to think the reason why it's going up on nothing but horrible news, they think Geithner is on the way out. But it's not going to change the philosophy. Bloomberg kissed the ass of the people wanting to build the mosque.
I know, because for a lot of you, you're going, this does not make any sense. Why would he support that? Well, now you know.
Because he's a Jew. I mean, basically, and most of the people, I've heard the people say, he's not afraid of being killed. I mean, he's old, his family's old, they blow me up, big deal. And they said the people